What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. So thank you guys again for joining us for another Sunday Stock Talk. Pretty much if you guys are new to the Sunday Stock Talks, we're pretty much going to be recapping last week's trading, especially with the group of TechBot Solutions. So TechBot Solutions is a group that I created. Right now we're sitting a little bit over 20,000 members now worldwide. And the thing that we do best is we share best practices, share mistakes, and efforts to promote growth. It's a very welcoming environment, especially for new traders, just because you have that support and kind of that guidance that can really, I think, guide you in the right direction. One of the things that we always talk about is one of our three main rules. And one of those three main rules, those three main rules is, you should never hold a penny stock overnight. Always or trade stocks with 10% potential. So again, identifying potential, and always have a stop loss set, meaning that always have a max stop loss and just cut losses at that point. The reason we find those rules to be so important is because if you can, in a sense, trade, stocks that have potential and lock in profit and minimize loss, that's truly how you're going to continue to see, consistent growth, within your account. Another thing that we've started with in TechBot Solutions that has really caught on has been this $1,000 challenge. We mainly focus on the Robinhood platform, but obviously it's just a challenge to kind of guide you guys in the right direction. So we talk about the power of compounding interest from $1,000 to $20,000, and with an average of 2.33% growth every single day. 3 times out of a 5-day period. So 3 days out of a 5-day period, from $1,000 within the next 365 days, you'll see a growth from $1,000 to $20,000, and that really just shows how powerful that is. From 2,000, you'll see nearly 50,000, and then from 3,000, you'll see, I believe, like 72 to 80,000, and then from 4,000, you'll see a little bit over $100,000. And again, as you continue to grow, it's going to be a little bit more difficult in the sense to, especially with these like more true penny stocks, you're going to be moving the market a little bit more. But I really just making it simple. And for those that really don't have an outline on how to get started with trading penny stocks, really don't understand, kind of where to start and stuff like that, I feel like this community of traders is definitely the place to be at. And the reason why is because we go over a bunch of frequently asked questions, but we're also here to personally answer them for you. And that's something that I'd really encourage. It's not just kind of the community that we have, but the environment that we provide. And I think definitely something like no other. I'm going to go ahead and dedicate a couple minutes within this live stream to actually answer some of your guys' questions. And I'm also going to perform a series of technical analysis on stocks that you guys are going to want me to, to identify or identify potential in. One of the things that we talk about also is dedicating every single day about 15 to 20 minutes in identifying potential, setting up plans for trades. And what I mean by that is never trading based on anyone else's opinion. You see this kind of trend, right? 90% of traders lose money, 10% make money. So what is that 10% doing? Well, they understand what it is that they're investing in. And how do you expect in the long term as a career to be successful in something and not truly understand what it is that you're in trading or investing in? Not understanding, your risk for loss, not understanding your potential for profit. That's something that, we make sure we go down the list and make sure we understand before actually making the decision on just investing. Even if it's $1, even if it's $10,000, whatever it is that you choose to invest, your hard-earned money, you should know the support, the resistance, where you're going to see your max stop loss, and use different indicators to make sure that you're getting with an upward trend rather than a downward trend. I'm going to go ahead and answer a very quick question that I saw once the live stream, or I believe in the TechBot Solutions group chat, and that's pretty much, why should you not average down on a stock? That's something that I think is talked about quite often. So the reason people tend to recommend, and again, it's just based on opinion, to not average down on a stock. And I think there's this chart that actually, in a sense, just answered that question like perfectly. I think it was a Pinterest post that was shared within our group chat or within our Facebook platform. And it says, why invest in something that's losing money, right? Why, if something's in a downward trend, why would you continue to invest in that? It was reworded in a different way, and I want to whoever posted this, if you're watching this right now, to post it within the Facebook platform, because I'm pretty sure it was within the TechBot Solutions group chat, which gets lost because of the hundreds, if not thousands, of messages we get every single day. But pretty much, it really talks about the importance on, why continue to invest money on something that you're losing money on, right? Why do that? Why not just cut losses, wait for the bounce, wait for it to see an upward trend, and then choose to invest your money in that? I think one of the biggest things one of the biggest reasons for people to make that mistake is because either their emotions are caught into it, meaning that they're hoping for the best, they're hoping that they can make a profit or break even. And again, getting your emotions when it comes to trading or investing is one of the biggest rules you should not be breaking, right? You should be trading based on just analysis that you identify potential in, and should always have a plan. That's why having a plan and cutting losses short is so important, right? But also, you're really not understanding, if you continue to invest on a stock when it's seen a downward trend, really all you're trying to do is average down, meaning that you're trying to make your purchase price seem lower, so when it bounces back up, you could either break even quicker, but you're really just adding to a losing trade. So now you're just risking more money for it to continue to, depreciate. And that's, in a sense, not a smart move necessarily. And again, in no way should you ever trade based on anyone else's opinion. And if it makes sense to you as an investor and it's led to your success in some way or form, then again, that's your decision as an investor, and 100% you should approach it however it is that you want to choose to invest. But I'm telling you, based on my experience and based on hundreds of people within Technical Solutions, and of other people, you guys can simply YouTube, why should you not average down? And one of the biggest things is because you should not be adding more money to a losing trade, because now you're breaking rules on, where you should cut your losses and hope that, it actually is coming back up. So I just wanted to answer that very quickly. Now I'm going to go ahead and start seeing if I can get a couple of your, I'm going to start getting or responding to a couple of your messages or comments right now within the live stream. So let's go ahead and see what we can find. So I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday. Thank you guys again for taking time aside and really dedicating it to this live stream. I'm going to try to make it quick for you guys. I'm actually planning on heading out to California. I'm going to be taking the Z06. I have a meeting with a marketing company in California, but then I'm also going to be visiting my girlfriend. And then I think I'm going to be filming with Tanner and his GTR. So I think you guys should, in a sense, enjoy that. So James Hardy says, Ricky is friends with my brother. They had class together. Well, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that. You need a better audio set for these streams. I 100% agree. I already ordered, what are they called? They're like a little ball. 100%, I don't know what it's called, but I did order already a Bluetooth headset. I contacted my internet provider, so we're gonna have to switch because I need a faster connection. So I'll make sure that I get to that. Rebel says Tanner Fox. Yep, that's correct. Let's see. Seth Gregory says, what's the point of your personal email if you don't reply back? Well, if you're talking about my personal email, I don't know if you're actually talking about the TechBud Solutions or the techbuds@mail.com. That email was, we saw a glitch that happened in that email. I now have someone in my team that's assisted me with that, so I apologize if you've been receiving delays in a response, but I've talked about continuously that the best way to reach out to me if you need something to be answered is to message me within the TechBud Solutions group chat. And the link is provided for you down below for those that want to join TechBud Solutions. First, you'll get accepted to the Facebook platform, and then we'll have on the top pinned post the links to all the group chats, and then DM me through that. That is 100% the best way to reach out to me. So I apologize, Seth, that you've had such a bad experience emailing, but again, I do talk repeatedly about how important it is to message me and direct message me, so thank you. So Riding with MG says, what's your watch list for Monday, Ricky? So that's definitely something that we're going to be talking about. On the top of my head about the stocks that we're going to be looking at is I'm really interested on JDST and JNUG. The reason why they're inverse ETFs, I know we've been following them quite often. JNUG has seen a consistent drop. I believe it's hit a support at $18, and hopefully this upcoming week, if everything plays out according to plan, we can set up a plan for success and buying above the support of 18 and start seeing an upward trend. But again, it's about being patient and waiting and making sure that you're waiting for that upward trend. So let me go ahead and see if I can find a charger for my phone. But it doesn't look like there is. My phone's about to die, so I apologize for that. Sergio, do you have a phone charger?
Car charger?
A phone.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and see if you guys have any questions. Carlos Gonza says, you're lit. I don't know what that means, but okay, appreciate it. Books you recommend, and this is by George Gonzalez. So I appreciate you asking that question. That is a pretty frequent question that I get, and I've talked about that before in one of my other live streams. And that's necessarily one of my biggest areas of opportunity. Is I learned from mistakes and I learned from my best practices, and that's how I personally learned. So I don't want to recommend any books that I personally can't, back up. But there's a bunch of books. So if you search up books on our Facebook platform, there's a bunch of books that people tend to recommend. Personally, I don't have any that I would recommend, and that's definitely a huge area of opportunity that myself needs to improve on. But that is definitely something that I'm going to continue to look into. But let me go ahead and see. I know a big one is like Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then my buddy Nick within this Tech Club Solutions group chat, his name is Nick Donahue. If you guys want to search for him and message him, he's a huge reader. And he reads maybe like 2 to 3 books a week or something like that. And he's definitely one that knows a lot, right? So I think if I can't answer your question, at least I can guide you in the right direction. And if you want to focus on a specific topic, that would be the guy best, that I think can best answer your question. Can you take a look at PBR? That is actually another one that I'm going to be looking at, and that's going to be by Zachary Mayfield. Thank you for reminding me. So appreciate that. How do you find the penny stocks that you decide to buy? There's so many out there. How do you pinpoint them? So one of the biggest things is I use this group, Tech Club Solutions, the group chats as exposure. I've talked about that continuously. Is the way that I've grown my watch list is usually there's something that I used to do in the beginning was I used to look at the top winners and top losers and add all those stocks on my watch list. I would simply continue to just add these stocks on my watch list, and then when performing a technical analysis, I would filter out some stocks, meaning that if some stocks really don't see much volume, are way too low price, meaning less than 1 cent or less than 10 cents, I would erase them off my watch list. But it really came down to just adding a bunch of stocks within my watch list, dedicating the time to analyzing them myself and seeing what I personally identify as a high potential stock that I can make money off of. One of the 3 big indicators that I use is RSI indicators, the SMA and EMA indicator, identifying upward momentum. And the Bollinger Bands are definitely something that you guys can utilize to get a better understanding on how these trade and how frequent it creates potential for profit, meaning if it sees big drops and then picks back up, that created a potential for profit for those that bought at the bottom and rode it back up. And volume is definitely one of the biggest things that I try to focus on, because I want to make sure that I can get in and out of a stock without moving it, right? Especially when I was trading with a little bit more money. Now with this $1,000 challenge, that necessarily isn't a huge issue. One of the biggest issues that I've encountered with this $1,000 challenge is overcoming that PD2 rule, meaning that I value my day trades so much more than I did. And it's something that, I kind of forgot about because of the years that I've been trading with over a $25,000 account, that I didn't really care about day trades or paying commissions, right? So now with this Robinhood $1,000 challenge, that's why I wanted to put my shoes into, the shoes that you guys trade quite often, because the average user within our, Tech Club Solutions community has about $1,000 within their account, and some have more, some have less, right? But on average, about $1,000. So I felt that that was a very realistic approach to try to, talk about. So I hope you guys see that. Let's see. Whoa. Front double biceps, please, Ricky. You stallion. That's so funny. All right, I don't know if you guys saw my rant yesterday. I swear, 100%. I just drove. I came from the gym. I drove into the garage, and I'm kind of going on a tangent. But I don't know why I went live that moment. I think I was kind of disoriented from the gym. Again, I'm not a huge gym guy. But I just wanted to talk about it. It was my 3rd week really going back to the gym because of my buddy, motivating me to kind of get back into it and trying to live like a healthier life, meaning, eating more at home and making your meals and stuff like that. And I just made this live stream that it's my most recent one. It's, I believe it's like Stay Motivated or Self-Motivated, something like that. But I really just, it's because I bought my Ducati, right? I bought a Ducati, which was kind of like a big accomplishment for me. I mean, I have the Z06 and I have the GTR, but it was kind of just something that's like, wow, like, I'm 22 years old. I have like my houses, I have all these things, but that really didn't make me happy. One of the biggest, like when I really started to get excited about, my life and seeing value in it was when I really started seeing a return within Tech Club Solutions. And by return, meaning that I was actually positively, having an impact on someone's life. And that was what was like kind of that changing point, that shift in my life, which is what like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to dedicate my time to. It was less about, I mean, I love driving these like cars and these bikes and stuff like that, but it doesn't give you that really like just this feeling in your chest that, you're really doing something good. You're really making or having a positive change. If I die tomorrow, right? Hopefully not, knock on wood. But if I die tomorrow, and compared to where I was a year ago, with the amount of money that I made, although that has changed, I don't think, I know people won't be concerned about or be like, wow, this guy had, this amount of money in his bank account, he was worth this much or anything like that. I think where I am now is, wow, Ricky was a nice guy. He was really trying to help people, and I'm going to have more of an impact because of the impact I was able to make on people. And that's really what I was just feeling yesterday. I really just wanted to say thank you to all of you for making me feel, so appreciated, and so motivated. That was really just it. I talked about my buddy Sergio, just how he has motivated me so much, and just staying core to my foundation, staying disciplined when it comes to some simple things, as in like going to the gym for 30 minutes. But that's it. It really came down to just wanting to say thank you to all of you for always dedicating time, to my videos, and to the content that we produce, and helping me and growing this amazing community that I can't thank you guys enough. So that's my tangent. I promise I'll stop going off on a tangent, so I apologize for that. So let's see. So someone's asking me, am I using my entire account for a trade? With the $1,000 challenge, yes. Something that I've been trying to do is to average up. So I buy in, let's say, with $500 on my first purchase. I did this with DRYS. So I bought in first at 408, if I'm not mistaken, with $500. And then I started to buy more as it was rising, making sure that all of a sudden, if it breaks support, when I cut my losses at where my max stop loss is, I minimize my loss, because the amount I have invested is a lot less, or half of my overall account, right? So as it was going up, I was adding, $100 or $100 or $200 and stuff like that as it continues to ride. Again, buying when you're seeing an upward trend rather than a downward trend. And I think that was a really probably useful technique that I should have talked to you guys about. So, well, thank you for asking that question. Everyone always tells me this, that I don't have to apologize so much, and that was by Mac Pearson Photography. So that is something that I am, I don't know, I just feel so thankful for all of you guys, and I don't want to inconvenience you guys or anything like that. And that's it. I was about to say I'm sorry, but I guess I'm not sorry, but thank you guys. Shamal Jordan says he needs more subscribers. He's a real, well, I can't say that word, for teaching this, because a lot of be trying to sell foo-foo DVDs and bum books that scam. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. If you guys can share, like, and subscribe, always would greatly appreciate it. But I feel like with the community that we have already, we're so powerful, and I want to make sure that we grow according to scale, and really just talking about TechBot Solutions, right? The link is provided for you down below for those that want to join. But the reason that I'm not in such a need or is so motivated, I don't want to say so motivated to continue expanding it so aggressively, is because I want to make sure that we can accommodate the growth. I don't want, as we continue to grow, there becomes this form of dilution within our community, and we lose focus of why we started this. And that's to teach everyone the basics and fundamentals of trading, so you as the investor can identify potential and set up a plan for success. And that's really just it. So I want to make sure that we grow accordingly, rather than all of a sudden see 100,000 members. Like last week we saw, I think it was like 1,000 to 2,000. We're seeing like 300 to 400 500 members add or join TechBot Solutions every single day. And one of my videos like caught on and stuff, and although that was great, I didn't really feel, I love talking and communicating with you guys personally, in a personal level. If you guys have had the opportunity for me to send a message to you guys know that I'm always willing or trying to help out, and I want to make sure that we grow according to that. I would hate for us to see a huge burst and for me to not be able to communicate with you guys in a personal level, and that's what I'm trying to do. And although it is growing faster, then I can really manage myself. I'm bringing people on top with TechBot Solutions that I really think can continue to express and correctly just express this message that I'm trying to promote, and that's really helping people out, and kind of just providing them with the information on how to be successful, and then you as the investor to set up a plan for success that you believe in and you understand. That's the biggest thing, that you understand, because if you don't understand anything, then why are you doing it, right? Or how are you doing it? You're kind of just going based on hope and stuff like that. So that's really what we're trying to do. So that's definitely true. It says, dude, investing is a risk. You don't always win. And this is going to be the last thing I answer. That's one of the biggest things. It's when people message me like, how do I build confidence to trade, right? You have to understand that you have to be, I feel like us entrepreneurs and us investors, we have a sense of like craziness within us, wanting to risk money and feel like a form of just like, almost like getting a form of high off of that, right? I literally like love the feeling of when I invest money. I love the whole process of starting a business. I love the work, and that's really what I love to do. And for some people, they don't like that feeling, they don't like that risk, and they don't understand it. And maybe, investing, in this market isn't for you. But the way that we overcome, that uncertainty of a risk is by learning how to do it, planning out a plan on minimizing risk and promoting growth. That's why we talk about planning being so important, and executing accordingly, sticking to our plan. That's why we always talk about, learn, plan, and execute, because of how important it is to learn the market that you're choosing to invest in, set up a plan for success. So every time you go into a stock, identify support, resistance, where you're buying, where you're selling, and where you're going to cut your losses, and then execute. Stick according to your plan, and don't do anything different, because once you start breaking your rules, once you get greedy and not lock in your profits, once you don't want to cut losses because you're hoping for the best, that's when you're going to get discouraged, and that's when you're going to see loss, because you are breaking your rules. You as the investor set up these rules and understand how important these are. And I get so many messages from certain people that like, okay, well now I'm really going to start following, your rules on, why it's so important to set up a plan and cut losses short and lock in profits, because, I ended up seeing a red day when I was in the green because I didn't lock in profits. And you can see, I want everyone, not just my word. My word means, it's credible to in a sense with my following and subscribers, but don't go based off of my opinion. Really do your own research, and I want everyone, like we did on our last Sunday Stock Talk, to at least share one thing. If you guys have like 5 minutes within this live stream, comment below something that you learned, right? A mistake that you've made and what you've learned from it, and also a best practice, what you've been doing good. And I think within that, then we can, like each other's posts, we can like each other's comments, and we could also respond to it, be supportive in like, if you see someone continuously making a mistake and talking about it, not knowing how to overcome it, but it's something that you've been able to overcome. This is why we have this community, for you as an investor to share your best practice to benefit someone else, for them to see value in what, in a sense, you're doing, and help them develop themselves as a better trader. And I'm going to leave it at that. So I hope when we'll, that's pretty much it. So when will we monetize TechBud Solutions? That's not necessarily something that I'm too worried about. I really like the community that we have going on right now. And let's go ahead and get into the technical analysis, because I am taking too much of your guys' valuable time. So let's get right to it. All right, so I have my my screen that I'm going to be sharing. I'm using the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, and I'm going to perform I believe 3 to 5 different technical analysis on stocks that I see potential in. The reason I was so focused on trading PBR was because of the huge gap that it created. And I'm going to show you guys the screen with the Brazilian economy showing signs of uncertainty because the president took a huge dip, and because of that, it built this gap. And I was exposed to that opportunity because of a member within TechBud Solutions. And that's why this networking environment is so beneficial. I would never trade based on what this guy told me, but I performed my own analysis on what the information he shared, and I identified potential. I set up a plan, and I made money off of it on Friday, and I filmed the whole thing. And that's why I find this, whole platform to be so valuable, right? So for those that really want to get into trading penny stocks, there is no better time to start or just investing, right? Whatever it is. There's simulation trading. So TD Ameritrade, which is the platform that I'm using, Thinkorswim platform, offers a simulation paper trading software that allows you to trade with real-time stocks with no real monetary risk, meaning that you're trading with fake money. They give you $200,000. I believe you have a 2-month free trial, and take advantage of that. Learn, get your feet wet, learn from what you're doing good, learn from what you're doing bad, and set up plans for success and trade like it's real money. And you have this platform within TechBot Solutions that you can take advantage of and see if this is a market that you can actually capitalize on. And that's one of the biggest things. There is no better time, or has ever been a better time to start, because there's no monetary risk and you have access to our platform that's 100% completely free. So I don't know what, in a sense, would be a reason that you can't get started. Obviously, if you don't have access to the simulation trading, that would be one thing. But other than that, what else? What's stopping you? It's really just you and the excuses that you make. But again, it comes down to you guys. It comes down to what you guys identify, worthy of your time. But let's go ahead and start sharing my screen so I can stop going off on a rant. But pretty much, this is DRYS. This is one that I was trading after market hours. I ended up holding above 395. And for those that held overnight, the reason that I didn't see potential in holding DRYS overnight is because this is a true penny stock. This is one that I've been pretty familiar with, that has consistently been on a downward trend. So why would you add more money or invest in a company that's continuously losing its money? Makes sense of it, right? Why would I want to continue investing in a company and hold overnight when it's continuously seeing a downward trend? That's why we're day traders, and for those that are day traders, that's why it's so important to buy and sell a stock within a series of minutes, if not hours, within the same day, because you really only have control of how it plays out within that day. Because after market hours, if it releases that it's going bankrupt or anything like that, you're just going to see a huge shift in the price. And during pre-market hours, you're not going to be able to sell if you don't have access to it. And for all those that held, are going to lose an amount of money that you can't control on how much you're losing, because you ended up holding a stock overnight. And that's why we make that such a clear and important rule to follow, because you can't manage your risk. And if you can't manage your risk, then what is it that you're doing? So these are the Bollinger Bands that we talk about. If you guys are asking what RSI is, you simply go to Add Study. I had a couple people message me on how to add this. You go to Add Study, you click Edit Studies. You simply search it up right here. You can go to SMA, daily SMA. You can just add it and then move it if you want it to the lower part of your graph, or within the price, and that's how you add it. And then they show up right here. So RSI indicators, you tend to want to buy stocks when they're closer to the 30 or below RSI, as they tend to show signs of being oversold. And then when they're above 70 RSI, that means that it's overbought, so it's almost hitting a resistance. So let me go ahead and get right into it. So PBR. Again, I want to make sure that you guys focus on my whole thought process and see how I identify potential. So, and to see if it makes sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, then don't listen to me, right? But when it comes down to it, overall, you should really be trading on what you identify potential in. And if you don't, there's nothing wrong with that. Just take time to learn a little bit more and see if you can make sense of it. So PBR was trading at about $10 to $10.50. After this news, this is why we don't hold a stock overnight. This isn't necessarily a penny stock at all, right? It was a stock well over $10, and then it saw a huge dump. Hit a support at $8.25 and bounce. So we identified a support, we identified a resistance. The resistance right now is about $9, $9.05, since we weren't able to break that resistance on Friday. Now, why do I identify so much potential on a stock that saw such a big drop? Because when it sees this huge drop, it builds this margin of profit that it's most likely going to bounce back up. At least that's what we're planning for. So how do we do that? Well, we identify that there's a support at $8.25, $8.35, whatever it is that you identify potential in. Understand that that's the support, right? So setting up a plan. How would I set up a plan for this? Well, I know that the resistance overall is going to be about $10.50 if I wanted to swing trade this, meaning holding it overnight. Again, I'm a day trader and I see more value in that. So realistically, on how it's been playing out, especially during pre-market hours, is that there's a support at $8.25 and a resistance at $9. So this margin of profit that it's built, even just within one day, is about 6.5%, if you guys can see that gap. So buying close to the support at around $8.30, $8.40. So buying close to the support and selling close to the resistance at nearly $9 or a little bit above, there's this margin of profit And again, buy low, sell high. So how are you going to set up a plan for success? Well, what I usually do is I get out my PBP checklist, which is something that I can provide you in the Facebook platform, and you pretty much just write out your plan on paper or on the Excel sheet. And you write out that, okay, the support is at $8.30, so I'm going to buy when it bounces above $8.30, meaning that I'll buy in at $8.35, whatever you identify as a bounce. So I'm going to get a little bit closer so we can actually see it. And let's see if we can actually see when it bounces. So no, that's too high. Let's go to a 2-day analysis. I apologize for that. Right here. So the support at around 8.30, so once it breaks above 8.40, you identify that it successfully bounced at the support that you identified at 8.35. So you get in at 8.40, and you know that there's going to be a resistance at $9 based on the previous resistance that it's continuously not been able to break. So your plan is to buy in at around 8.40 as it bounces and sell at around $9. And now what if all of a sudden it doesn't go according to plan? Well, you know the support at the low point, the lowest it's ever been is 8.25. So what does that mean? Well, based on how I trade, I like to cut losses right below support. So I would put my stop loss at $8.24, meaning that my potential for loss if I get in at 8.30 or 8.40 is about that 15 cent to 5 cent profit depending on where it is that you buy it. So my potential for loss is so much less than my potential for profit. And that's how I identify that a stock is worth investing in. When I successfully set up a plan for success, that my potential for profit is greater than my potential for loss. And that's what you should be doing every single time you trade, is setting up a plan for success, identifying the support, identifying the resistance, making sense of it. If it doesn't make sense to you, again, we're not forcing you to trade. You should never trade anything you're not comfortable with or 100% committed on. But you have to understand how important it is to set up a plan, where you're buying, where you're selling, and where you're going to cut your losses. And using different indicators to identify that, look, this RSI was close at 30 RSI, so it was identifying itself as a good buy, meaning that it's more on the oversold side. Again, this is the reason why I like seeing it. But not only am I going based off that, but the volume was pretty healthy. It was in the millions, right? And as it starts showing signs of upward momentum, so does my EMA line, my SMA line. It goes above the SMA line and starts seeing an upward trend. Now, when it gets closer to this resistance at $9, it gets closer to the $70 or 70 RSI, meaning that it's more on the overbought side. So again, this is my resistance at $9 or $8.96. I should be ready to sell, have my stop loss set to lock in profits. And it's as simple as that. There's nothing extremely fancy. You shouldn't be ever 100% trading based on anyone else's opinion. You should always make a plan, make sense of it yourself, and if it doesn't make sense, then don't trade it. There's nothing wrong with watching. There's nothing wrong with doing your simulation trading to see how it plays out, but never trade based on anyone else's opinion and let that influence what you're choosing to invest in. I think exposure is definitely one of the most powerful networking tools that we have within TechBud Solutions, and that's why I created this environment to help people and expose them to a new opportunity. But never should you trade based on anyone else's opinion, not mine, not anyone else's, no one. Just you as the investor have to identify potential, and you yourself have to make sense of why buying at $8.30 is a good buy, why it makes sense to you, why at selling at $9 makes sense to you, because that's a resistance, and then locking in profits, staying consistent, just not breaking your rules and just sticking to that and continuously doing that. I mean, that gap for profit is 6.5%. You need to be locking in 2.33% growth on average a day. So if you lock in that profit, you're almost, what you should be locking in a week, you just did in one day. And it was because you had a plan for success. Yes, if you see a loss, you're going to see about a 1% loss because you have a plan for success. Although it drops, you're going to cut losses short and move on. Don't let your emotions come into play when it comes to this. And that's really just it. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and now analyze. Let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. That would be kind of useful, right? I'm going to go ahead and analyze one more stock for you guys. And let me go ahead and see which one that is. And it's going to be this is another one that I saw potential in. And again, tell me what you guys think. I really want to hear your guys' opinion. So this is a 10-day analysis. So JNUG was in a consistent upward trend, hit a resistance at about 21.20, and then it started seeing a downward trend. Now it's showing us support at around $18, and it's seeing solid bounces. So the potential for profit to go back to where it's at is about, 12% if I'm not mistaken, 12 to 14%. So it has a good amount of potential for profit. Now the potential for loss, we know that the support is at $18. So if it drops below $18, you should probably cut losses, right? So understanding that is, well, realistically within a day, the bounces that it's been having are lows of about $18.20 and highs of about $19. So that margin for profit that it builds, and again, this not being a penny stock, it's an ETF, is about 4.6% to about almost 5%. So again, more than what you should be hitting every single day, right? 2.33% being your target profit every single day. This can give you a little cushion to get ahead, get a heads up on what it is that you're trying to achieve. So this could be something that you can identify as like, wow, this can be a day trade for me. And now looking at it, analyzing that the support is around, $8.17. Is the RSI indicating for it to be a good buy? Is it above the SMA line? We have it set up right now. Yes, it is above the SMA line, but as a day trade, is it above the SMA line? It is, but at how it ended up closing, it's not. So really what I'm gonna have to see with JNUG when trading it Monday, if I choose to, if it plays out according to plan, I'm gonna be going live during pre-market hours and seeing if my plan according to JNUG makes sense, but it still has a support at 18.20. So if it holds above 18.20, then this can definitely be one that I see potential in, because if I get in anything when it bounces at 18.20, then I can get in at the bounce. I can cut losses anything below 18.20, minimize my loss, but the potential for profit at being $19, I think is so much greater, right? So it's worth the risk for me, and that makes sense to me. If it doesn't make sense to you, don't trade it. And I'm going to simply set my alerts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click right here, create alerts. When it goes below 18.20, just to alert me. And then when there's somewhat of a resistance right here. If you saw that it bounced and then hit a resistance at about 1860, highs of 1865, but really 1860 since it continued to peak out at that point. And when it goes above that, I want to stay up to date. And it's a simple thing like that. It's something I'm going to have to follow up on later on. But it's just, again, setting up a plan, setting different indicators, setting alerts, and staying like up to date on how specific stock that I'm interested is playing out. So I'm gonna do one analysis on the stock that you guys want me to. Williams says, Ricky, you're amazing. I thank you for all that you're doing for us. I appreciate that, man. Really do. Let's go ahead and see what you guys have to say. Okay, well, MRGR E or 3EN is saying NOK. I'll just do one for you guys. So this one, it looks like it's gonna have an earnings report in a couple days. I believe this might be Monday or Tuesday. I'm gonna have to check up on that. But these Bollinger Bands are getting very like contracted right here. So it's most likely identifying that there's gonna be a break. So let's go a little bit further back and how it's playing out. So it looks like the support, based on how it's been trading, that the support is closer to the $6 mark, and the resistance is at $6.31. Now let me go a little bit further back. It's been seeing a consistent upward trend, so that's a good sign, right? Especially for those swing traders. It definitely has been seeing a consistent upward trend. It doesn't move a crazy amount, right? But it's continuously seeing an upward trend. Let's go. So great find. Really? Well, there's a resistance here. So it looks like overall it's peaked out, saw a huge drop, and then started seeing an upward trend. So this would have been, ideal if you could have gotten in at this, huge margin of profit that it's built, and it's on an upward trend. And this is why you don't get in on a stock that's losing money. This is why you invest in stocks or companies that see upward trends, because you want to make sure that your money appreciates. And how are you going to hope for that when you're seeing a downward trend? So I believe overall on how it's been playing out, the RSI indicator, as you can see, it's way over 70, so it's showing more that it's overbought. It did drop below, and then it's bouncing back up. Does it still have potential to continue to rise? Of course, right? There's no real cap on these, but based on its previous trends of about $6, based on its history year to date, I feel like it's kind of like at its resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply set an alert when it goes above if it does go below, above and break the resistance, because we can have a good gapper with that if it does break above it. But there's also an old resistance, as you can see right here, that's at 550. That's probably the new support. So I'm going to go here and identify that as a support. So when it goes below that. And as simple thing as that. So definitely, good catch. I just think it's a little bit closer to the resistance than it is to the support. And I hope that makes sense to you guys. Other than that, it looks like you guys are having your own conversation within the live chat, which I think is completely, amazing. Go ahead and bring it on over, because this live stream is now coming to an end, to the Technical Solutions group chat. I want to welcome all those that see, the benefit and see the value in networking and exposure. But I want to make sure that I make one thing very, clear. It's never trade based on anyone else's opinion, and always, for yourself and for your own sake, whatever you choose to invest in, make sure that you identify and learn what it is that you're investing in. Make sense of it yourself, and make sure you understand it. Set up a plan that the potential for profit is greater than the potential for loss. Set up a plan for that and stick to it, and then execute. Don't break your rules. Don't get greedy. Lock in profits and cut losses short. That's really just it. So feel free to bring it on over. The link is provided for you down below to the Technical Solutions group chat, to the Technical Solutions Facebook platform. Once you get accepted, I'll go ahead and accept you guys. For those that and it's unqualified, then I'll go ahead and accept you guys. You guys will get accepted to the Facebook platform. And on the top pinned post, all the links are provided for you. I believe the swing trading group chat right now is maxed out, so I'll just have to follow up with that. But other than that, spend the time and enjoy your time now with your family, with whatever it is that you guys are doing. And if you guys have a couple minutes to dedicate to identifying potential, again, that's something that I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to be having to drive all the way right now to California. So it's something that I'm going to have to do, in a sense, once I get to California, which will be around like 2 or 3 a.m. And then I have to wake up at 5:30 to 5:50 a.m. To trade. So it definitely comes down to how disciplined and how determined you guys are to really make it happen. It's something that I truly enjoy, and I hope to share with you guys, and I hope to be a part of your success. So other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I hope you guys are pumped for this upcoming week. And we can't thank you guys enough. If you guys can like and subscribe, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you guys can share this or share our group with people that you think can benefit from this. Have a buddy that is always there to support you, other than just a friend, online. I want to help you guys out any way that I can, but just know on a personal level and like realistically, having someone always there motivating you or kind of competing with you is definitely, I think, really beneficial. So thank you guys. Hope you guys have an amazing week. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, guys.